So I just want to talk about the importance of knowing which direction you are orientated. So, and what is your main focus? So it's really easy to get distracted by things that just don't matter at all. One main thing is sport or football, and how that can dictate your attitude in life. If you're an avid fan and your team loses or your team wins, it kind of dictates your attitude. And you've got to remember, whether winning or losing on something as minor or irrelevant to your life then it is just not important. If you have the biggest win of the century, it's great, but just remember, when you lose, what you usually say to yourself is something like, it's only football, it doesn't matter, it's just a game. And you do something and you get stuck into your real life to take your mind off it. But when you win, you don't do the same thing. It's like, yeah, we won, and then you get this high, but then that just drags you down the pit of relying on this thing for your mood. So then inevitably when you lose the next time you play, or it doesn't last as long as you would like it, the high, then you're just waiting for that next high. But one thing you've got to have faith in is just, essentially, you've got to have faith in something. What that is, that's up to you. God is a good thing to have your faith in, because it's higher than something in the physical. Therefore, if things are going well, it's there. If things are going bad, it's there too. And when it comes to current life, the only thing that is really important is health and time. And health is not just important for you and your family members. So you could look at health as in an egotistical way, like, I just want to live for longer, so therefore I want to be healthy. And then this is good, but it doesn't always hold you accountable, because you don't mind letting yourself down now and again. Well, at least I don't. And that might have something to do with self-respect, something to do with sinning. This is why I need Jesus. But something that's stronger is thinking, you've got family members and people that care about you. If you get unhealthy and end up in hospital, even if it's not that serious, or whether it is serious what you get, you are putting family members at risk of stress, like extreme stress. And if you've got any children, if you think what it's like to have an ill parent, or an ill wife, or an ill sister, or an ill etc best friend, think about the stress that you're putting your children under by getting ill. Obviously, if you're ill by something outside of your means, then just it's one of those things and there's nothing you can do about it. But if it's something that you have control over, then you've got to do what you can do to try and not put those people under stress. So you've got that extra motivating factor to go and be healthy, and not stuff yourself with sweets on a night, or go to the gym, go to the sauna. And what I'm trying to get to the point is that is the most important thing in your life. So the most important thing in your life shouldn't be what your football team is doing. It should be, how healthy are you, how healthy are your family, and how are you able to provide in any way to help keep your family healthy, whether that's monetarily, whether you've got the money to pay for medical services, or whether it's mental health, whether you can afford to pay for a large house with some land, or you're going to be cramped up in a 1-bedroom apartment with 4 kids. Obviously monetary situations are affected by many factors. So people start from different starting points in life, and some people benefit from nepotism, and some people just are dealt a horrendously bad hand. Like there is a such thing as like a genetic lottery. Like especially if you're in the Western world right now in this time of history, you already got a head start because you got the ability for social mobility. If you were born in North Korea, which if you think how rare it is to be born in the first place, like for your parents to meet in the right place and their parents to meet in the right place, and your great granddad who didn't get caught cheating, and if they did, then his wife would have divorced him and there wouldn't have been a good, there's so many factors, so many things that you don't even think of that goes into just one sperm, that exact sperm out of billions hitting that exact egg, that exact month. How rare is it just to be you, okay? And now think, on top of that, going back hundreds of thousands of generations, even to before when we were human, one shrub could have been killed off in a fight against another shrub, and humans might not have even evolved because that shrub might have had some other type of gene. It's crazy. Don't think about it too much, but think of how lucky you are to be born. Think of how lucky you are to be born in the Western Hemisphere, and then some people are born into like the top 10% of the Western Hemisphere. So some people just have it just lucky to start with. But whether you're born into a rich family or born into a poor family or born in somewhere else in the world, the answer is still hard work. Because most likely you haven't been born into a billionaire family or a millionaire family. Most likely you've been born into a normal family. Even if you have been born into a billionaire family, there's a curse of the 3 generations, whereby in 3 generations the whole billion has just been squandered. And the only way to defend it from being squandered is doing hard work and knowing what you're doing to be able to keep it. So it's the same whether you're born into poor or born into rich, you've still got to do hard work. It's just one is doing hard work from silk sheets and one is doing hard work from the streets. And one is harder than the other, but also it's not easy wherever. It's not easy to remain successful if you born into it. Obviously your life's going to be so much more comfortable, but the thing is, comfort is a killer. So if you're born into comfort, you're not going to, like, there's the whole thing about most millionaires come from poverty because they grew up knowing what it's like to have no food, which gives them the drive to become millionaires. So it's one of those weird counterintuitive points, is like the people who are born into a rich family don't have the struggle when they're a kid and don't realize the need for hard work unless they're put into like a sport or something like that where they are forced to learn it. And so hard work for money, for health of the family, so you can spend more time with family, is pretty much the aim of the game for me personally. Because if you think about your priorities in life, what can't you get more of? You could arguably get more health, arguably. Let's say if you're fat, you can arguably get more health, if that's even a thing, if you could even quantify it, by losing loads of weight, just as a really crude example. So you could arguably get better health or more health. But one thing you can't get more of is time. So that is the most valuable asset that you have. And if you don't start doing the things that you need to be doing now, and if you're in your 20s or early 20s, like I am. I'm late 20s now, but I've been starting to do things since I was about 20. It's a slow process, but if you don't start doing it, 10 years goes by and you're 30 honestly, when people say it goes by in the blink of an eye, it really does. Think about the last 10 years. 10 years ago was 2015. That literally is crazy, okay, to me anyway. That's crazy, because 2015 was when I first started going to uni, and like, you're conscious by that point, you know, when like you're younger, you don't really hit full consciousness and you don't really know who you are. Like, when you start living life for the first time and start like feeling in the moment, and you know what I mean, you kind of get on that, like, you kind of wake up in the world, like, oh my god, you were just like a living emotional blob for the last 18 years, and now you kind of starting to think about things more thoroughly, and you think you know everything, but you don't know anything at the same time. But think of how fast the last 10 years has gone, and now just think that is going to happen again 10 years from now. Yeah, it's going to be 2035, and I'll be nearly 40. Okay, just in that quick time that has already happened. All right, and when you get to 40, you're like, you know, middle-aged, and you can start losing ambition and all that kind of stuff, because you think that this is your luck in life, you know, you're already there. But you know what's, you got to think of it like this though. It's both a short time because it flies by, but it's also a long time. Because let's put it this way as well, just so we keep our spirits up. If you had to sit staring at a wall for 10 years, it would feel like an eternity, okay? It'd feel like an absolute eternity. But if you're like just having fun and letting time slip by, it's going to just go by, and you'll just wake up 1 year, 10 years later, and you're like, oh shit, I've just wasted 10 years of my life, okay? So how do you not feel like you're wasting time? Because it's easy done, and at certain parts in your life you will experience that time where you feel like you will experience it where you feel like time is slipping away and all that kind of stuff. One answer that I found is make sure you're orientated right towards health for family and yourself, a number one goal, for number one thing, and ability to free up time. But the best thing to do to make it feel like life isn't just slipping by is using that creative power. Like, create something, whether it's a website, whether it's a business, whether it's artistic, whether it's YouTube. Don't just constantly be taking stuff in, or be building and creating, whether it's creating new avenues for sales, whether it's creating, you're an artist, literally creating, whether you're an architect, whether you're a health guru. Just create something. Like put your mind to work. Don't try copy what someone else has done. Figure something out for yourself. Create something. Just start a YouTube or something like what I've done as well, which I'm doing on top of a few other things, and just start creating something, and get into the habit of creating as much as you're consuming, or because that's quite hard these days to create as much as you consume. I don't think anyone on this planet is doing that, other than probably Joe Rogan, who you could argue he's created so much for billions of people to watch. I don't know, maybe not, but how much are you taking in on a daily basis? How much are you eating? How much are you just taking in entertainment and just letting time slip by, compared to how much are you creating? And I'd argue that you need to oscillate between creating and consuming, because if you're just constantly creating, you're going to knock yourself out. But if you're constantly consuming, you're just going to turn into a slob and become unhealthy and waste loads of time. So that's the message of the day. Make sure you're orientated towards health. Make sure you're not taking things that don't matter too seriously, whether it's something that's for like going well, that doesn't matter, don't take that too seriously, or if it's going bad, don't take it too seriously. The only things to take seriously are family, health, and time, and creating things to use to optimally use the time you have been given on this planet. Thank you for watching this video. If you made it all to the end, I know it's been a ramble, but I can talk for England if need be. But if you found it interesting, give us a little like, comment, subscribe. I will be posting more in the future. If you want me to talk about anything, just let me know, comments below. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. See ya.